Okay, this video is an introduction into energy, and I'm going to do a series of videos on this, but I'm going to start here with the very basics, defining what energy is. So, energy is kind of an ambiguous term, but we can define it as two basic ways. Number one, it's the ability of an object to do work, okay? Or it's a measure of the physical state of a system. In other words, how ready is a system to do work? How much energy is there available to do work? Okay? And there's different types of energy that we'll get into. And we'll talk about work too. So the units of work and energy are both joules. Okay? So I want to clarify that right now. So energy is in joules, and work is also in joules. But I want to make a distinction between the two. Okay? Right now, before we even talk about work. Energy is not equal to work. Okay? They have the same units, but they're not the same thing. Okay? So energy is going to be the total measure of the state of the system, and work is going to be if that energy changes. So for example, if I had an energy of 100 joules, okay, and it changes to 110 joules, then you did work. But just because I have energy doesn't mean that there's work. So again, if I had an energy of 100 joules, and then I moved to 110 joules, the work would be the difference between the two. So the work is the difference. So this is the difference between two states of energy. We'll talk more about that later. Not the same thing though. Okay? Same units, not the same thing. Alright, so there's two types of energy. So two types. Okay, the first one's going to be potential energy. And this is going to be dealing with stored energy. And the next type is going to be kinetic. And this is going to deal with motion. Okay, so this is the very basics of this. They're both in joules. We can just add them up. And the cool thing about this is we can actually lump them together. Since they're a scalar, I can kind of take this whole thing and put them together. And I can call that total thing in purple. That's my total mechanical energy. And that just means I put the two of those together. So when I take the potential energy and the kinetic energy together, that's my total mechanical energy of the system. Okay? So I'm going to start with just the basics there. So elaborating a little bit more here, potential energy is going to depend on position. And kinetic energy is going to depend upon how fast you're moving. So these two types of energy can be divided into many different parts. Potential energy has a lot of different ways we can define that. And that's going to depend upon the position. So it's how high is an object above the ground? How far is a rubber band stretched? How far apart are two charges? How close are two magnets? The position is going to tell you how much potential energy there is or stored energy. The kinetic energy is just how fast you're moving. And we're basically going to be concerned with only two things, a linear motion and a rotational motion, which we'll get into in the next video. Alright, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.